Well, if you monitored social media, particularly yesterday, then you would have realized that there were a lot of people complaining about mobile data, cost of mobile data. And there were some challenges with some particular telcos. Well, we're talking about that issue in terms of data charges here on the AM show, and we're doing it all together. So this is all the angles in one conversation. I want us to start this way. Consumers in African countries, and this is a little research that I'm sharing with you, are paying some of the highest rates in the world for internet access as a proportion of income, according to a new report released in October this year. The Alliance for Affordable Internet assessed 136 low and middle income countries for their annual affordability report. So middle income examples from the report include Malaysia, Colombia, India, Jamaica, South Africa, and of course, Ghana. Well, the AA1 defines affordability as 1 gigabyte of mobile broadband data costing no more than 2% of average monthly income. But the average across the African continent is 7.12%. And in some cases, 1 gigabyte costs more than a fifth of average earnings. So, of course, we pay a lot more for data, but our situation is also different from some of the countries that we'll be comparing with. Well, Spike Nkrumah is here in the studio to help us understand some of the things that only the Geek Squad guys would understand and bring it home to us. How can you also, we use data all the time, we can help it, but how do you manage the use of your data so you can save some little coins? Spikey, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So how do you, because you're linking these charges, if we want to do a comparison, to also development?
Yes. I'll just start with a simple story of a lot of young people now learn from the internet. I, for example, would not have been a geek if it wasn't for the internet. I learned most of the things that I know now from the internet, from YouTube, from forums. Even this morning, I started my car. There was an error on the dashboard. I Googled it, and I found out what the problem was. I opened the bonnet, and I fixed it. So self-learning is something that the internet has made a possibility. Now, in this part of the world, a third world country for that matter, where we're looking at developing, we're looking at comparing ourselves to the developed countries, this is a tool that we should make readily available for everyone. And we're asking too much for it. And according to the Alliance for Affordable Internet, lower countries like us are paying more than countries that already have it.
Yeah.
So I think that governments, the public sector, the private sector, non-governmental organizations, they need to come together to, push for a lower cost of internet. Because most of the people that use internet are the young ones. And these are people who are not making a lot of money. And they're spending all that money they're making on internet. It's an unfair balance.
Yeah. One of the things that we'll talk about is how do we make it easier? How do we save? But if it's that expensive, then what can we do? How do we help ourselves? But I want us to talk about, in terms of how things unfolded yesterday, save our data. Where did that all start from? Because we've been paying. We know that we've been paying much more than other countries have been paying. So where did we suddenly wake up from?
Okay, so on social media, just yesterday, there was a burst of complaints. People were complaining that the amount of money they used to pay for a certain package of data had changed. People used to pay, let's say, about 10 cedis for a gigabyte, and now maybe it's about double that or triple that. And they were very concerned because, like I mentioned, you're paying a lot more than your other counterparts in other countries, and now you're being asked to pay even more. So a lot of concerns that came up were because, hey, I'm paying more than I should be paying. This is how much I used to pay, and what's justifying this increase in cost for the data? And well, as it stands, you'd see a lot of people were complaining that the speed in itself is questionable. Like you're in an area, you'd buy, let's say, a gigabyte, and you know that it's probably going to last you for 3 days. But then you're in an area where the connectivity itself is a problem. So you're unable to exhaust that 1 gigabyte, and then you have to buy again. And now it's been increased. So all these concerns were being raised, and people were just shouting. they're going to move to a different network, or they were going to look for a different option.
Yeah, classic. Somebody said under one of those posts, because the person was giving himself some options, and the person said, don't even come here, it's the same story.
Yeah, apparently. So it's a problem when you find that for people to rise up and start complaining like this, it means that it's really bothering them. And I think our telcos really need to sit up and then look at it from the point that most of these data users, they should analyze the demographic of people that use data and realize that most of these are students. And most of their research is done on the internet. We don't have as many libraries where people can go find the books that they need. So most of this stuff, they go online to go and get. Now, if you analyze the demographics and realize that the people are not even getting, they don't have that kind of income that justifies how much data that you're selling to them, then you need to adjust your pricing.
Let's share some of the comments with you. We're already posting, sharing some on the screens. There are people wealthy enough and spending 500 cedis and over on slow, sluggish, unstable, and reckless internet and still feel it's okay. That's cool. But a number of us say it is unwarranted and irrational to spend 30% of our earnings on sluggish mobile data. So there you go. You're paying more, and what you're experiencing is also not as fast.
Exactly.
Makes it really annoying.
I'm a living proof to that. In my area, it's terrible. I wake up in the morning and if you try to download a video, that's it. All your WhatsApp messages would hang until the video is done because you can't have parallel connections. I normally hotspot my phone with my computer. Once I do that, I know that one device is going to suffer.
Yeah.
So I have two different networks working in parallel. The moment this one goes, I switch to that one. The moment this one, and it's inconvenient.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's look at the average cost of 1 gigabyte as percentage of average monthly income. We're going to show you the charts as we have it. And Spike is going to do a little explanation on that for us. And then, maybe we can also check ourselves because we tend to spend a lot more. And do we tell ourselves that, okay, explain what's on the screen?
Okay, so what you're looking at is the average cost of a gigabyte of mobile data as per percentage of the average monthly income of a person. So the first graph is showing you what is in Africa. This was, in orange is 2018 and in blue is 2019. So in Africa as a whole, people were spending in 2018 9% of their income, of their monthly income, on a gig of data. And this is for a developing continent. Versus the Americas, who were spending in 2018 3% of their monthly income on mobile data. And in Asia, well, we know Asia is extremely developed, they were spending just 1%. So just to put this into context, if you're earning like, let's say, 100 Ghana cedis a month in Asia, you're probably spending like what, 1 Ghana cedi on a gigabyte of data, versus if you were in Africa, you'd be spending 9 times that amount. And we all know that people in Asia will probably be earning way more than people in Africa. Now, that it doesn't really add up. And if you put all the other countries together, they're spending about 5% of their income. This was last year. So the Alliance for Affordable Internet is pushing to get this figure to reduce. And this year, it's reduced by 2% in Africa. So you have about 7% of people's monthly income being spent on 1 gigabyte of data in Africa.
But that's still way more than the others.
Because you're looking at America's spending 2% now, and in Asia spending 1.9%. They lost just about 0.5% because it's not really much of a problem.
Yeah, but if you link it to the perspective where you came from at the beginning of the conversation in terms of development, then one would say it makes sense, right? Because we're still very much developing. We're not there yet.
Which is why it should be cheaper. I was watching a video on BBC News yesterday of a young boy who learned how to program robots from the internet. And he did this just by looking for a solution to unlock his sister's phone. Because he was playing with his sister's phone and he locked it. And he needed a solution to unlock it. So he went to see a repairman, and the guy said he charged him money, which he didn't have. I mean, this is a 12-year-old boy. He comes back home and does some research on the internet and finds a solution. He follows and realizes, oh, this was relatively easy. I can learn more. And he started programming, sensors, humidity sensors, locks, motion sensors, and everything, all from the internet. Now you're looking at someone from Africa, and this is knowledge that is exposed to people in the West. They have access to this every single day, and they learn this stuff on a regular. So if you're looking at competing in that space we're far back. We don't have the tools to compete with them. And we're making it even more difficult by increasing the price.
Yeah, so that not everybody can easily access it, and restricting a lot of other people. So when we come back, we want to look at in practical ways, and we're going to read more of the messages in terms of what people posted. So a very good friend of mine, Anio Sabute, also posted on his Facebook page. But this particular comment had to do with MTN, because he shared it, said, sorry MTN, but how do I pay for data with less than an hour or is gone? Later in the day, MTN issued a statement, which we're going to share. Apparently, there's a peculiar issue that they're going through, and some changes that we've also discovered. So try and see if you're not buying data or you're not doing the bundle yet, but try and go through the process and see if the cost will be any different from what you've previously done. And send me a WhatsApp message. We're going to put the number on the screen as well, where you can send your WhatsApp messages and share your experiences with us on this conversation of data charges. You're still watching the AM show. We'll be back in a bit to continue this conversation. All right, thank you for staying with us here on the AM show. If you've been following our conversation, where we're talking about data charges, we're looking at particularly what happened on social media yesterday with the hashtag Save Our Data Now. We're just paying too much. Are we just realizing it? So we're on a campaign now trying to get it lowered. Well, Spike Nkrumah has been here with me, but also joining the conversation is Maximus Amatogo, who is a tech consultant. So Maximus, welcome to the conversation.
Thank you very much.
Let me allow you to explain in your way, have you experienced what people were complaining about on social media yesterday?
Yeah, I suffered the data distress yesterday. So
data distress?
Yes, so I called and then the issue is being resolved. So it's not been resolved yet.
Okay.
And it's usual when you are doing reconfiguration of technology systems and the billing systems, it happens.
So that's
what's
happening.
You have to test it, yeah. But you have a traffic hitting that platform, and of course, they may need maybe bandwidth balances and all those things. All those things require configurations. You don't know the volume of traffic you are going to get. So when you start and you pilot and you start testing, then you know how to manage the system. So I'm sure.
But can you explain your difficulties yesterday? With
yes, I did the top up. I think I bought 20 CDs from my mobile money, but the connection wasn't done, so my account was debited, right? And then, but I didn't get the data the airtime that I bought, because I usually buy airtime to buy my data. So
wait, that's do you buy airtime to buy the data, or you can buy the data directly?
You can also buy the data directly.
Which
but
one
I
is
prefer
cheaper?
It's the same rate.
Because why would you buy? Why would you do double? Like, why would you go through the process, or why don't you do it directly?
No, usually you want to also have airtime, so I don't want to do bundle and buy airtime again. So I just buy the airtime and then use a portion of it for my data.
Okay.
That's all.
My sound engineer Dennis Thompson is telling me that sometimes it also comes with a bonus, so you can get airtime.
Exactly, and if you buy from the native telecoms, maybe mobile money platform, you also get bonus.
Yeah. Well, I promised at the beginning of the conversation that you guys are going to share with us how we can cut down on some of the charges. So these are some of the things that you should be telling us.
Exactly.
Instead of me going directly all the time to just go and bundle, I could do with some of the processes to save.
Yeah. And you see, it comes down to the whole pricing model, and then the expiring thing that has been introduced, the non-expiring data that has been introduced, because usually you get discount, you get all those bundles based on the level of consumption. But if you said, okay, let's put a cap on it, no expiring date, it means that you may not get the bundles again.
Okay. Is that what is being practiced elsewhere when they say no expiry, Spiky?
Well, it depends on which country.
Yeah.
This is how they make their money, the telcos. Because your data has to expire so that you can buy some more, and then they make some more. In certain countries, they even cap you based on what you're using.
Yeah.
If you're streaming or doing some, playing music or playing a game, your internet speed is capped or it's throttled so that you don't abuse it, quote unquote. Yeah.
Yeah.
So every country and how the telcos operate.
Okay. But Max must explain. It's just recently that we're doing the no expiry thing.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it started with the Airtel Tigo, and then they've been forced for the others to do. I mean, I think it's a market thing. The telco should decide whether to cap it or to put expiring date on it or not. For me, I'm sure they know the volume of data their consumers consume every day. So if it had an expiring date, they will know the amount that you consume because you are being forced to consume the product because it's going to expire. So you'll be given more so you can consume more. But here is the case that there's no expiring date. It means that if I buy 1 gig today, I can decide to use it next year. And it'll be sitting on their infrastructure. Who pays for that? Right? And they have to be billing it all the time so that they'll be rolling it over all the time and it's still using their system. They're going to charge you more for keeping your data for you. So if you are going for the non-expiry, it comes with that also a price increment too as well.
So what we are doing, do we have an option or this is just the one way? I
think we should have opted for the option of going for I want expiry, I don't want expiry. Yeah, the consumers should decide, not the policy makers.
And I personally think that the reason why the expiry thing became a thing was because of, as I mentioned earlier, the access. Sometimes people have difficulty even using the data. So imagine that you bought 1 gigabyte and you live in an area where it's very difficult to connect, and then your time runs out and that data is gone. It's very frustrating because you have to go spend money again and then go through the same process where you're getting edge, but you have a gigabyte to waste. So you have to move from your house to someone's area where you're getting 4G connectivity just to exhaust that data. I've been in that situation before where I had, speed tests running and I was driving through town and somewhere around Dansoman, very fast internet, I had to park, do all my downloads and everything, and then drive back home because in my area it's terrible.
So until recently, I was also doing something and I didn't know I could do it in a much convenient way. So my fiber broadband at home, because I didn't want it to expire so that I'll lose, because I end up having a lot more on it, I would renew it with the same amount that I bought the original. So it's 240, I'll buy another 240. Ooh. Yeah. And I have done it for a very long time until just a month ago when when I had issues and when I contacted the telcos and the person was helping me out. I kept telling him, I don't want to lose it. I have a lot of data. I don't want to lose it. And he said, well, you just have to. You can renew it with just 5 CDs. Yeah. I was like, are you kidding me? And I've always done it with 240.
Yeah, so you're doing the bundle renewal instead of buying a bundle. So you just buy maybe 10 CDs or 20 CDs just to roll over.
These things?
Of course, the dedication. And usually we don't even go to their website to read it because if you go there, all those details are there. So when you are hearing the advert and they say terms and conditions apply, it's also part of it.
I want us to go through the charges in terms of the cost as we have it. My producer, Derek Okosam's done some of the. So this one, for instance, is the Airtel Tigo data bundles. Spike, you know I'm going to call on you.
Well, so yeah, if you are using.
But this is familiar if you're on this network.
Yeah. If you're on this network, that's pretty much how much you're spending. For 25 megabytes, about 50 pesos. For 65 megabytes, about a city, 150 megabytes, 2 cities, 550 megabytes, 5 cities, all the way to 10 gigabytes will cost you about 50 Ghana cities. And that's for Airtel Tigo.
Okay, and they started the no expiry thing, obviously, because they started advertising it for a while. Can we move on to the next thing and how it looks like? But this is like your choice. We are all on different networks.
Exactly.
And some of us continue to be irrespective of how it looks like elsewhere.
Yeah.
So this is your personal choice. We're going to put the other ones.
So this is a Glow one.
Yeah.
So
Spiky?
Yeah, Glow is costing, the base plan is about 100 megabytes for, it's for about a day. The validity is a day. That costs you 1 Ghana cedi. 200 megabytes will cost you 2 Ghana cedis. And you get the data bonus on renewal for 120 megabytes. That's also valid for a week. And then 1.75 gig costs you 10 cedis. And you get a data bonus of 500 megabytes. And that's, so in total you're getting 2.25 gigabytes for about 30 Ghana cedis. That's for Glow.
Okay.
So what will be the new rate without the expiry? because they have validity dates.
But Glow has no expiry now.
They are supposed to by law.
So is it becoming, and whilst we get the next one ready, please let me know, is it becoming mandatory for them to not have expiry?
Exactly, yes.
Okay, that's the new direction now.
Yes.
But we as consumers don't have the option to choose if we want expiry or not.
Exactly.
Okay.
I think the pricing model, the telcos must do that, so that even if you want a monthly, weekly, expiry, non-expiry, and then it comes with the data usage and all that. So.
Okay. All right, maybe we can jump into how, because you're going to give us the tidbits. How do you manage your data? How do you manage your data?
Well, for starters, a lot of people need to know which secret offers. I like to put it quote-unquote secrets because most of these telcos have some offers that are very, very good. I, for one, my telco, if you dial *530#, there's some bundles that you get there that are not in the actual bundle. So I can get some bundles that they suit my lifestyle.
Okay, that's what *530#. We're not saying which of them, but we're saying *530#. Yeah, you can try your luck.
So it's basically based on your usage. So I don't know what kind of system, but they track your usage and then they recommend certain bundles that they think would suit your lifestyle.
Okay.
So it's a very good lifestyle package, and that's what I use most of the time. If you don't know which offers your telco is offering, you need to check, like Maximus said, check their websites or listen to their ads. They may be giving you some very good deals that you probably don't know about.
Exactly.
Okay.
So that's just one.
All right. Before we continue, let's look at, because I think we showed the Airtel, Tigo, we done Glow. Let's look at how Vodafone looks like.
So for Vodafone, you're getting your monthly 2 gigabytes for 21. That's valid for 30 days. Browser, that's 43.
So this
Ghana
is
cedis
expiry.
for 4
There's
gig.
expiry.
And
yes, and these are monthly packages.
yeah, monthly packages. You're paying 65 Ghana cedis for 5.5 gigs of data, and then you're paying 108 Ghana cedis for 10 gigs of data. That's for the monthly packages.
Okay. All right.
So, like I was saying, you see, this package also differs in a different package somewhere on the same network.
You just have to explore more.
You just have to explore. And that's one thing I think our telcos need to let us know. But obviously, that's how they also get people. So, like your case, for instance, you're spending 240 every single time. I'm sure you're smiling. Let's not tell her yet.
Maybe I should have noticed, because when I called one of the days to complain, they said, "Oh, but I'm looking at you have a lot of data on your thing." I said, "Yes, I do."
The guy was surprised.
Yeah. You should invite me to your house one day. Let me use it all for you.
Exactly. Wow.
Okay.
So I think if to be fair to Vodafone, if you can get their daily packages and weekly, I think it would be better.
Okay. This is monthly, so it looks very high.
It looks very high.
Okay. All right. So you've given us the tip in terms of how to save. Maximus, anything to add?
Yeah, I think you need to understand your lifestyle. So if you're a heavy consumer, whether you use just
how do you know you're heavy or not? Because these days,
platforms that
everybody is on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook is like 24/7.
And most of these platforms, the telcos even give you free usage if you buy some amount of data.
Do they still?
I think so. So you get the WhatsApps and then the Facebooks and the rest for free. But I think you need to go through it, understand your user behavior, like how much you spend on WhatsApp, Facebook, the number of minutes you spend on all those platforms and all that. That is number one. So your personal data usage has to be very clearly stated. And then your device itself consumes the data. So that's what a lot of consumers don't know. Your operating system on your device always, pings the platforms to alert of any update. So if your device is on automatic update, it will update itself. And then all the apps on your device also call for updates. So if you have 20 apps on your phone and you buy a 1 gig, it can run out in less than 5 minutes. It's not the telecom company doing it, it's your apps. So either you reduce the number of apps on your phone or deactivate some of them so that they don't automatically update. So you need to have all that sorted out.
Okay.
Work on your device and your user behavior too as well.
Okay.
So like Maximus was saying, if you're using your device, it's very imperative that you know how much you're consuming. And your device can tell you.
Yeah.
For instance, I can tell for last month I spent 40 gigabytes of data, mobile data alone. And it even segments it into mobile data and wireless data. So you can tell when you're on Wi-Fi how much data you consume, when you're on mobile data. So now that I know that I use 40 gigabytes for a month, I know I should probably just invest in 40 gigabytes for a month in total, rather than be buying it in pieces, because it will obviously cost you more.
Yeah,
if you're buying
and then if you're also you are saving most of your files remotely, pictures, videos, WhatsApp, uploading to Google Drive or iCloud, all those platforms also consume your data. So they may even consume data more than the one that you use for your communication.
Especially WhatsApp.
Yes.
Those who have auto download on WhatsApp. So you go onto WhatsApp, all your groups, all your messages, someone sends videos and pictures, and it just downloads in the background, and you're there, you don't know, your data is just running out. I turn off all my auto downloads. It's unnecessary. I want to look at what I want to look at. If I look at the comments under the picture and I see, I don't want to watch it, I don't download it. And I just leave it. Or I can set it to only Wi-Fi. So when I'm connected to Wi-Fi, then it does the downloads. The same as your app updates. You can just set it to only Wi-Fi, so it only does it when you're connected to Wi-Fi. I've seen a lot of people who have video and games like download, they take a lot of data. And you have your games updating over 1 gigabyte, and it's set to automatic updates on your mobile data. And you bought just 1 gig. And before you use it, it's all gone.
Let's take some of your messages on WhatsApp, and then we'll come to MTN and the statement that they issued with regards to the challenge that they have. This one says, just bought Vodafone data this morning and I realized a change. Well, 20 Ghana cedis for 2 gigabyte previously. It's now 20 Ghana cedis for 4 gigabyte for 30 days. Is this a change I want? Well, isn't this like positive?
That's positive change.
Oh, you're asking, is this a change I want? Well, is this the change that you want? This one says, this conversation is very necessary. When I get home after work, I have to sleep because the network in my hood is bad. And before I wake up the next day, the data will be gone. Yeah. All right. This one says, we're really suffering from these telcos. The government appointees are not buying data. That's why they are quiet on this matter. It's becoming out of hand. Something must be done now. Robert from Keta sending this message. I don't know if they don't buy data. This one, so you stop using a particular network. You say, I just bundle for 10 CDs equivalent to one Ghana for a week. As I speak now, my bundle is left with 10 megabytes. What a cheat. I did it around 6:30 a.m. Only 1 hour and my bundle is gone. I have to ask you guys, the daily bundles, is it advisable to do the daily ones?
Yeah, if you know how much you spend in a day, the daily bundle may work for you because it's usually cheaper than the weekly or the monthly. Right, so you go for that knowing how much you spend a day. I think that I usually do daily bundles.
You do?
Same
Yes. Really?
Yeah,
yes.
Because
what am
I
I
will exhaust it. No, I know myself. If I go for a whole month, I'll probably finish it before the first 2 weeks are even done. I'm a very heavy user.
So how do you restrain yourself? So do you finish all that daily bundle?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the daily bundle, sometimes when you top up again, it rolls over.
Oh.
So you get
I don't like to roll over.
Yeah.
Because I'm always switching between packages.
Yeah.
Sometimes I may do 5 gigabytes, and maybe I just need a gigabyte to do something real quick, and I switch. So I don't like automatic, rollovers.
Oh, I'm learning a lot. This one said, please help me out here. If you say data does not expire, why call it a daily, weekly, and monthly bundle? Azira from Yape.
Exactly. So that we have some I don't know whether terminology problems in Ghana. Usually we call your airtime credit, which is wrong. Right? It's your airtime
like
that you bought.
time.
Yes, exactly. It's not credit because you bought it. It's yours.
So it's actually debit.
Exactly. So those are the terms that we use. And then the bundles outside Ghana, bundles is your internet, your TV, all those packages put together. You can't just buy 500 megabyte and call it a bundle. It's not. It's a data package.
Okay. So how does that explain the expiry thing?
So that, yeah, of course, if after the expiry is the time it's just like buying a product. You have an expiry because there are some ingredients in it that you cannot go beyond some number of days, right? The same way the telcos maybe you spend 500 megabytes in a day. So the more you use 500 megabytes, the more they may give you more, But if you use less of it, or the 500 megabytes will sit on your account for maybe 6 months, it's going to cost them money. So they have to increase the price for you.
All right, this one says, in fact, Ghana networks, they are killing us, and also deducting our credits is also killing us rough. So we've come back to the issue of credits. This one says, okay, I asked a question about Christmas. We'll come back to that. Somebody's advocating for people to stop using a particular network. I can't read your message. I'm sorry. This one says, I always buy daily bundles. Yesterday I did, and it was terrible. The government should stop putting much burden on us. That's Benua. Has anything changed in the daily, because you guys bundle daily? Nothing has changed?
Oh, not for me.
Okay. All right. On the hashtag Save Our Data, yesterday there was some shift data bundle by MTN. In fact, how data is bought and used in Ghana isn't the best. Dr. Nick Mbolga. So let's bring you, because it looks like MTN in particular yesterday had a challenge. Extra charge on data didn't start yesterday. I have been there a long time. That's a message from someone. But let's read the statement that MTN issued with regards the challenges. So here we go. MTN has experienced some challenges on some of our channels post implementation of the adjustment of prices and our new data bundles. We're working around the clock. We're working round the clock to resolve the issues as soon as possible. Our priority is to continue to delight you and give you value for your money. And that's the statement issued particularly by MTN. Maximus, maybe you should explain what's their challenge.
Of course, that's what we're talking about, the traffic and reconfigurations. So people trying to access their data, and they're trying to buy data using the new systems that they've reconfigured. So I'm sure that's what caused the blackout or the data distress people are suffering from. So I'm sure that's why they're apologizing for that.
Okay. Yeah. All right. This message says, with regards to the data bundle, whether you do directly from Momo accounts or buy credits before bundle it, same charge. Try and see. Barbara from Sinai says so.
Yeah.
Okay. This one says, all right. Michael Inti in Obuasi. I get your message, but I'm afraid I can't share it on air. This one says, this data thing is very disgusting. Previously, you buy 3 Ghana cedis data for a day and you're given 500 megabytes. But yesterday, I bought the same amount, but was given 126.5 megabytes.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Yeah,
that you would feel. I mean, yeah. This one says, indeed, data is everything now in this 21st century. And as a matter of fact, this network has taken advantage of the average Ghanaian and charging more than normal. David from Offenso North. I can't mention the telco you mentioned for obvious reasons. This one says, could you ask the panelists to explain more on the non-expiry data bundle? Does it mean the bundle will not finish too? Abu from Damongo.
No, the non-expiry means that it will finish per usage, not per the time cap that is on it.
Okay.
Right. So as and when you use it, not as and when with the time you must use it, right? So we need to do that. And I think the government needs to work with the telcos so that we change the price models, right? I saw a report on internet usage, mobile internet usage. Ghana has the highest in terms of prepaid customers in the world.
Okay. So before you came in, actually, we're talking about Africa, America, and Asia.
Yeah.
And we did the comparison from reports from last year.
Right.
Okay. So Ghana is more expensive.
Yes,
than
almost 99%. Everything you have to pay before you use. So in other countries, it's not like that. So either you do monthly and then they send you your bill and all that.
Echo, I think, and of course, my producer, Echo, I think you mentioned that there was a Nigeria, because, you know, often when we talk, we look at Nigeria. Is there something from Nigeria that we can look at in terms of how their charges are? All right, whilst at it, let's read some more of your messages.
I think with the Nigerian, I think local calls are cheaper than international calls. That's why they don't do. Local calls are cheaper than international calls. Yeah, so if you call within Nigeria, it's cheaper than calling outside Nigeria. That's why we don't do SIM boxing.
No, wait, hang on, explain.
It's cheaper making the call within the country than outside the country to the US and UK.
Okay, isn't it the same here?
No, it's expensive doing international calls than local calls in Ghana.
Oh. Okay, so let's look at the Nigeria situation in terms of their charges. Here we go.
So the MTN, okay.
Okay, this is MTN. But this is Naira.
Yeah, so
let's not do
divided by
the
60.
diversion. So let me read some messages. Let's Spikey will do the conversion and then we'll come back to this one. Okay. All right. This one says *530 hash code works only on, and I'm not going to say, you got it for you. And this one says nice network you got there, but please, those of us at Asante Achim district don't have a strong connection to your network, so please, whatever you can do about it will be appreciated. Kuku, my panelists don't represent any particular telco, so okay, so I hear 1,000 naira is 15 Ghana cedis. Okay. All right. My problem has to do with checking of your data. We'll load 4 gigabytes of Airtel, but can't even check if I was given same and even what's left.
I think it should be possible. You need to dial their short code and you can check your account because they're supposed to give you account receipt anytime you dial the short code.
Okay. All right. You can also go to their website because we don't visit their website at all. I'm sure there will be some things that you can learn from there. Well, the issue yesterday was quite, was heavy. The hashtag was trending. So we thought we'll quickly go to Parliament and find out from the Vice Chair of the Communications Committee, Andrew Ejapa-Mensah, if they also observed what we observed. Well, they are part of us, right? So they should know what we're feeling. Good morning to you, Mr. Andrew Ejapa-Mensah.
Good morning, Melanie.
Thank you for you. I'm very well, thank you. Thanks for your time. So this issue about Save Our Data Now, it must have come to the attention of parliamentarians because you're representatives of the people. So what trends on social media, you must know about it.
Well, good morning. Good morning to those listening to us now. Of course, I haven't seen the hashtag Save Our Data Now, Bring Back Our Data.
Okay.
But of course, I followed social media yesterday, as I do quite often. And I saw loads of complaints. Indeed, some were very vociferous, in their attack on some of the telcos, particularly MTN. That look, they've loaded data and it's unusually being depleted as opposed to what they were used to. And so they were calling on MTN to provide some explanations that refund their data and all that. So yes, I am aware of the issues that have come up on social media.
Yeah, and indeed, MTN also issued a statement which we have read because they say they particularly have a challenge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I thought that I needed to finish out the conversation so that we can, because I read a statement from MTN as well. And so we are monitoring it closely to see how quickly they can resolve it.
Okay, but we've been doing a bit of comparison. I mean, it's obvious that we pay a lot more, apart from what is currently happening. Is there anything that you're interested in pushing in Parliament in terms of how to make data less?
We've engaged quite extensively with the telcos on this. They have indicated several reasons that makes their services cost as much as it does. Prominent amongst the reasons that they've indicated is the huge cost that they incur with repairing damaged fiber optic lines and cables, both as a result of road construction and individuals who go out there to cut them for their own purposes, which they will have to respond quickly by replacing. And so that obviously increases their cost. And because they're a profit-making organization who management, as we all know, are accountable to the directors and shareholders. They ought to, some way, somehow, recover that cost that they incur by passing it on to consumers. And that, as much as possible, they would wish that it comes down. But they are constrained, So it is something that is of great concern to all of us, particularly members of the committee. And we've given them, of course, the NCA as well requires them to meet some service level benchmarks. And so if there's a downtime that is longer than usual because they have to mobilize and go and repair cut cables, damaged cables, and all that, that becomes a problem. But if my recollection is right, major attribute for why their costs are high is the frequent damages to their fiber optic cables. Indeed, trying to remember, indeed, the percentage figure that we gave was pretty high. Frequency with which their cables are damaged, destroyed by, scrupulous persons really accounts for why, they have to charge us that high. And indeed, the comparison that also, even though Ghana is one of the most expensive countries with respect to data, we were high up there. We had indicated to them that, look, it's important because of government's own policy of ensuring that access to internet and all that I know that GIFEC is making some investments in there to complement the work of the private sector players. They ought to ensure that it comes down as much as possible so that,
So, all right, we're going to leave it here. Since you're representatives of the people, what matters to the people matter to you. We will be monitoring the situation in Parliament as well to see if the actions on social media by the people will make you also push the people who have to do something about this, irrespective of the challenges. So thank you so much for your time. That's Member of Parliament for 2nd D. He's also the Vice Chair, Communications Committee of Parliament, Andrew Ejapamensah, there joining us. We reached out to the National Communications Authority, the NCA, and we reached out to the Telecoms Chamber as well. They're not speaking for now. So if we do have their angles to this, we'll definitely share with you. Here's a message that I received, and I'm smiling again, I'm sorry. It says, it started with, why would you say some Ghanaians are complaining? This issue is not some Ghanaians, but rather all Ghanaians are complaining. Comes back to say, in fact, I know very well that our leaders are taking some percentage from this data thing. If not, they should come out and say something to Ghanaians. It's really pathetic. Comes back again and says, I'm happy for the show that you guys are doing, but take it seriously. Don't giggle because Ghanaians are really mourning from this issue. That's why I said I was reading every bit of it. So thank you very much for the message. Okay, this one says, and we've got like loads of messages now, like dropping in, because obviously this is a matter that matters to all of us. How can I save data when I want to use my phone to watch a football match using the DSTV Now app? Victor in Nkrofo Elembele districts. This one says, Charlie. Kofi sexting in Swedro, calling some particular people thieves. I can't read that. And you have to use, like a clean language so I can share if you want me to read your message. This one says, I use one network for call clarity and the other for internet, for instance. One CD for 500 megabytes for 1 week. Very good one there. From Airtel Tigo, you say, hey, use one network for voice clarity and another for hey, Charlie. I couldn't do that. Some people have gotten this the star 530 hash. You have to pay me. This one says, I think we should abandon all these networks and have nothing to they have nothing to offer us. They are so unbearable. Bahid inside Bodia, people are really angry. I think I agree with the technician. Consumers should have been given the option to choose either expire or non-expiry. But please tell MTN to restore the old system. Is it Masha? for me alone, because this new unexpired wahala. Michael Adai in team in Asing Fosu. This one says, yeah, spent 10 cedis on data yesterday only, thinking of changing my phone. How can I continue like this? How did you spend 10 cedis on data alone yesterday? How is that possible?
Oh, it's very possible.
It's cheap.
Okay, maybe what's your lifestyle? What do you do?
Exactly.
If you're watching videos and stuff all day.
And is he on pay as you go? Maybe he bought pay as you go, so it may be too expensive. The 10 cedis will run faster than buying a bundle with it.
This person says, good morning to you, my panelists. I find so unfortunate that some consumers are already paying so much, not even to talk about bad services meted out to us. I've realized that the amounts are same, but the package content reduced. From Kenneth in Asante Mampong, sending us this message. This one says, upon Richmond, watching you from Nandom, data issues in Ghana is very disgusting, and our leaders must do something about it. This one says, what is happening? I can't even access my balance. Any help? Abu Shiraj, what network are you on? This one says, I'm Kobe. On issues of data, we are paying a lot more. I'm advising all Ghanaians to switch to, all right, for better service. People are advocating for people to move from one to the other. This one says, what is the difference between the 30 cedis and the 10 Ghana cedis bundles? On which network?
Yeah, it depends on the package.
And the package too as well.
Yeah.
Okay, this one says, okay, this particular network is problematic. Please advise us on the network we should switch to. And then you sent me something I haven't opened because I'm taking advice from my guys. You have to put it exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Can we advise people to use a particular one? I don't think so. All right.
One thing they also need to know is that when there's a lot of people on a certain network, naturally there's bound to be a lot of traffic on that network.
Shouldn't it be less? Shouldn't it be less expensive on a network that has a lot more people?
It should be, but it depends on the infrastructure setup too as well. Some will have a lot of redundancies so that you have a reliable network. So when you pick a call and I put a call through to your number, you get it quicker and faster. It doesn't dial and wait, or it doesn't cut. All those back end stuff also adds to the pricing.
Okay.
So usually it's not just about the fact that we all make a call and go through the same network, but it's all the other reliability, setup that they do behind the backdoor stuff, the back end, so that you can get a reliable network as you move. Because anytime you're moving, your SIM card is communicating to the nearest cell site to hand over a call to another SIM card in a different cell site. So far as we are all moving, the network will be affected. So some of the telcos, they've been able to build out redundancies so that your call doesn't cut when you're talking, and then you move to a different cell site coverage area and all that. So it all adds to the pricing. It can't be the same. I wish the NCA built all the maybe the cell sites and they rented it to the telcos. Then we can judge them by the same standards.
Okay.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we have to go. I know that messages are loads. Maybe you can help my friend who says he watches football.
For the DSTV now?
Yes.
I honestly don't use DSTV, so unfortunately I can't give any feedback. Maybe Maximus can.
But that's an app that's running, right?
Yeah, so I do use it, but of course it depends on what you want to watch on your mobile. So you have to maybe look for the telco that will give you the best of data bundle and then the price. And usually don't forget about the amount that they've written. Think about the reliability of it as well. You can have 100 gig that you cannot use, and you can have 100 megabytes that will work. Yeah. So must also look at the connection reliability too as well.
All right.
And we
Final words?
About those who use Wi-Fi's at home. I got a call on Sunday from a friend who was saying, they buy data. Usually it wouldn't finish, but now they bought and like half of it was gone. And I asked them to check which devices were connected to their router. They didn't know how to check it. So I just told them, just change your password. They changed their password and the neighbor came to ask, have you changed your password? So now they knew where the data was going. So
oh no!
You just have to make sure that you don't have any leeches on your connection.
But how does a neighbor never get connected because they need the password.
Well, if you have a neighbor like me and your router has WPS, we have something called WPS, which is just one button which you can press on the router and then the device will connect. I don't need to ask you for the password. I just need to push that button and then it connects.
Okay, wait, let me, I know we have to wrap up. So I had
Secret
challenges.
belongs to
Yeah, I had challenges and I needed to fix the thing myself. So I'm using the router. There are some numbers down there and I didn't change the password. Can somebody get hold of it?
Every person looks at and just takes a picture of
the
the
Oh,
password.
no, then nobody can, because the thing is sitting there, it's in my house.
Or they can ask someone.
Oh, no, they can.
Are you
Okay.
sure?
No, that's it. Okay, all right.
Yeah, I think
final?
we should just be patient. Of course, this is a human setup. Technology happens everywhere, globally. People get networks, get blackouts and all that. So I think we should just pray that the telcos resolve it so that our distress will reduce and they will get the best of network. We should also be pushing the regulators and the ministry so that they'll be serving our interests, because the more we create local content, the more consumption will go high, and then the lower the price will also come.
All right.
So we need to think about that too as well.
An absolutely useful conversation for all of us. Thank you, guys,
Thank you
for helping us through that. And I hope that you remember this very simple tips. Know your lifestyle. Choose the the bundle that works for you, and you can do the daily. I mean, these guys are like, they are pros. So if you want to follow them, you can follow them and then do the daily.
Yeah.
I am a very traditional girl, so I'm sticking with what I know. But don't you just hate it when your data runs out in the middle of something very important? Well, Cefline, Ghana's first and only true 4G LTE network, has introduced a bundle that is guaranteed to give you total peace of mind all throughout the month. It's Cefline's always on bundles. It gives you unlimited data, and that never stops for the whole month. No need for unexpected expenses in the middle of the month on internet data. The always on bundle from Cefline guarantees that. Here's how you can hook on. Dial *718 *77# to purchase an always on bundle data today. The always on bundle is also available at Cefline shops, Shell shops, Express Pay, eTransact, SlidePay, Haptel, and Koba electronic platforms. Cefline always on bundle, pure unlimited bundle that never stops. Cefline, it's about time. Stay with us when we come back. Well.